A severe weather warning has been issued for the northern West Fjords region. There is a high risk of avalanche tonight in gullies and on the leeward side of the mountain. All roads have been closed since midnight as high winds create blizzard conditions.
Hello?
Public are advised to stay
Excuse me.
indoors until...
Hello.
I hope I'm not interrupting.
You have snow in your hair.
It's wild out there tonight.
Who are you?
Mrs. Njordsdottir. I'm a hospital visitor.
Who are you visiting?
No one in particular. I came to sit with anyone who needs a bit of company. What's your name?
Magnus.
Nice to meet you, Magnus.
My mother was meant to be here today, but there was too much snow.
And it's nearly the Midwinter Festival. What a shame.
You mean Christmas?
Is that what you call it?
It's okay though. We Skyped.
May I sit with you a while?
If you want to.
Oh, that's very kind.
What do you talk about when you visit people?
All sorts of things. Whatever they want to talk about.
What if you're with someone who doesn't want to talk?
I tell stories.
What kind?
Very old stories.
Are you very old?
I am older than the mountains are. I can remember when they grew out of the earth. How old are you?
Nearly 8.
Would you like to hear a story?
Okay.
Of course, this isn't the best place to tell one. A hospital is too clean and bright. Stories are best told in rooms with dark corners and shadows in front of a glowing fire. Then we could gaze into the embers together and make the stories come alive between the flickering flames.
We could pretend there was a fire.
Good idea. Let's pretend there's a fire.
I can feel it. Can you?
Yes,
It's nice and warm.
I can smell the wood smoke.
Will it be an old story?
Very old.
The oldest story in the world?
In which world?
There's only one world.
My stories. There are 9 worlds.
But there are only 8 planets in our solar system.
These other worlds are not planets. They're different realms. You cannot see them, even with the biggest telescope. They are very distant. But they're not so far away. They're just somewhere else.
Where?
That cannot be easily explained. But then, there's no fire in this room, yet I hear the crackle of burning logs and I smell the smoke rising. Do you?
I think so.
You cannot go to these other realms by yourself. But I can take you.
I can hear birds.
They're in the story.
What kind are they?
Ravens. They belong to Odin.
Who is Odin?
He is the leader of the sky gods. The sky gods live in a place called Asgard. He sent his ravens out across all 9 realms to find wisdom. He always wanted to know
What did he want to know?
everything.
That's a lot.
Now, there was a time when the ravens flew back and told him about Mimir's well. Mimir lived in a place called Jotunheim, the world of the giants.
Was Mimir a giant?
He was a giant god. He guarded the well of memory. The water in it was filled with wisdom. Odin was determined to drink from it.
What do you want here, Odin?
A drink of water from your well. That is all I ask. What do you say?
I say nothing.
Why is that?
Seldom do those who are silent make mistakes.
Please, Uncle. I have not traveled all the way from Asgard to leave with nothing. Name your price.
An eye.
I?
Give me one of your eyes. That is my price. Then you may drink.
Odin longed to know. He did not hesitate.
Get me a knife. Here is my eye. I will place it in the pool.
You may drink.
Wisdom flooded through him.
My mind is opened.
I like Odin. Where did he come from?
Bor married Bestla, sister of Mimir. Their son was Odin.
Where did Bor and Bestla come from?
Before them was the beginning. And before that was before the beginning.
What comes before a beginning?
Before the beginning, there was no earth, no heavens, no stars, no sky. Before the 9 worlds came to be, there were just 2. The mist world, formless and shapeless, and the fire world, always burning. Between them was a void, vast and empty. The poisonous rivers of the mist world flowed into this void, where they froze into huge glaciers. When these glaciers reached the fire world, they began to melt. In the meltwater, life appeared.
What sort of life?
The first creature was bigger than any giant that will be or has ever been. It had the likeness of a person, but was neither male nor female. It was both at the same time. Next, an enormous cow appeared in the waters. Milk began to flow from her 4 udders. Ymir drank the milk. And grew.
It grew? It was already the biggest giant ever.
It got bigger. And then it slept. And while it slept, it had babies.
Ew.
Giant children came out of Ymir's armpits and from between its legs. Some of them had 6 heads.
I wish I had 6 heads.
From Ymir's children, all the giants now living and all the gods are descended.
There are giants still living?
Not in this world. In Jotunheim. This world was not even made then.
How did our world get made?
Odin was born, and he grew up in the yawning gap between the mist world and the fire world. It was empty and lonely there.
I hate it here. If I travel to the mist or to the fire, I will die. If I stay where I am, in the void, empty as it is, I might as well be dead. Something must be done.
Odin decided to make something to fill the gap. He needed raw materials. There was only one thing to do.
I have killed Ymir. This will be the beginning of all things.
Ymir's grey, salty blood gushed out and became the oceans.
The flesh will make the soil. The piled-up bones will become the mountains. Now, the skull. What shall I do with that?
He thought about it for a long time.
I know. When you look up and see the sky, you will be looking at the inside of Ymir's skull.
He liked that.
It is done. I am the maker of a world. I will call my world Midgard.
And then he made something else. On a lonely beach at the edge of the world, Odin found 2 sea-tossed logs, one of ash and one of elm, laying very close together on the shore, almost touching.
The ash tree is tough. The wood carves well and would not split or crack. The elm is graceful. But the wood makes the strongest planks.
He placed the logs in the sand so they stood about the height of a person. He carved them into the shape of people, giving them ears to hear and eyes to see. He made one female and one male. He held them gently and breathed life into them.
That was a good story.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Are you leaving now?
It's getting late.
No. Stay a bit longer.
You sure?
I'll be lonely here on my own.
Like Odin was.
He made people to be with. I can't do that.
You can.
How?
By telling stories. That's how you can bring people to life.
I like hearing your stories. What happened to Odin after he made the people?
Many things.
Which world did he live in?
He did not live here in Midgard. He lived in Asgard, home of the sky gods.
Asgard.
In Asgard, Odin sits on the high throne in his hall. The other gods gather there each day to hold their council.
Who are the other gods?
Oh, there are so many.
How many?
I've never counted them.
Tell me one.
There is Thor. He wields the mighty hammer, Mjolnir.
Thor's hammer. I've heard of that.
Do you know how he came to have a hammer?
No.
Then I will tell you that story. Thor is one of Odin's sons. He's the strongest of all the gods, but he's good-natured. He married Sif of the golden hair. One morning, not long after they were wed, she woke up and reached for a comb to run through her famous locks. As she put a hand to her head, she made a terrible discovery.
Thor! Quickly!
My love, what is it? What's the matter? Oh.
I went to brush it and my hair wasn't there. Where has it gone? Where is my hair?
He has left you bald.
He?
Loki! Loki has done this.
Loki is the most cunning of all the gods. He is handsome and likable, but there is such a darkness inside him. He makes the world more interesting, but less safe.
How do you know it was Loki?
When something is wrong, the first thing I think is, this is Loki's fault. Saves a lot of time.
Thor went to Loki's door. He found it locked. Thor is known for his strength, but not for his patience. Inside, he picked Loki up by the throat, so their faces were very close.
Have you never heard of knocking?
Sif's hair!
What about it?
Why did you cut it off?
I did that, didn't I? I cut off Sif's hair.
Why?
Oh, I was drunk. I thought it was funny.
People will say her head has been shaved for punishment, that she's done something with someone she shouldn't have. Not funny!
It's true. They will probably say that. Sadly, I took the hair from the roots, so it won't grow back. Oh well, there are always hats and scarves. Sif would look good in a hat. Sif would look good in anything.
Put her hair back or I will break every single bone in your body.
It's not as simple as that.
This could turn out to be fun. Here we go.
Ah! Dwarves!
What?
Dwarves! They can make anything. They could make new hair for Sif, hair that would bond with her scalp and grow normally. I swear they could.
Then you had better pay the dwarves a visit. Now.
So Loki went to the world of the dwarves, and he took his cunning with him.
Hello?
What do you want?
I have come from Asgard to find the greatest dwarf craftsman that has ever been. I'm told I should look for Brock and his brother Atri. Do you know where I might find them?
Brock and Atri? I wouldn't trust those fumble-fingered incompetents to shoot a horse.
If they are not the greatest, who is?
I am. The son of Ivaldi.
I hear they have set a challenge.
Challenge?
They will make 3 treasures. Anyone who thinks they can compete at such a level will also make 3 treasures. The gods will judge. Whoever wins will be the greatest craftsman. Official.
Whatever they make, I will do it better.
Oh, by the way, one of the treasures needs to be hair.
Hair?
Ever-growing, perfect golden hair that will fix itself to a bald head. Should be easy for a master craftsman like yourself.
Loki had a plan. Loki always has a plan. He planned to set the greatest dwarfs working against one another. They would make Sif new golden hair, and they would create a whole host of other treasures into the bargain. It was quite brilliant.
Brock! Atri! Wonderful to meet you. I have heard many great things about your work, and some not so good.
What? We're the finest craftsmen in the 9 worlds. Who would dare say otherwise?
The son of Ivaldi was none too complimentary. He described you as fumble-fingered incompetence.
Well, I would describe him as a sausage-fingered bunglemonger.
Have you heard about the challenge?
Loki explained the terms, but Brock was suspicious.
Something doesn't seem right. Is it some mischief to stir up trouble between the dwarfs?
Not at all.
What do you stand to win? Or lose?
This is nothing to do with me personally. I am just the messenger.
Well, perhaps you should get involved. We accept the challenge on one condition. If we win, we get your head.
I am rather attached to my head.
Wonderful head it is. All sorts of things go on in there, I'm sure. If we win, we'll make something incredible out of it, I promise.
My head is telling me I should stay out of it.
And then so will we.
All right, all right. If you win, you can have my head. No problem.
This was a complication, but only a small one.
Loki could lose his head.
Only if Brock and Atri end up the winners.
Does he have a plan?
Loki always has a plan.
Well, we can't stand about all day.
I agree, brother.
These treasures won't make themselves.
They set to work with fingers as nimble as their minds.
Now, ready?
And they soon produced their first 2 treasures.
That is fine work indeed, brother.
I couldn't have done it without you pumping the bellows. No one can keep the temperature as high and consistent as you. If it had been out by only a fraction, both these objects would have been ruined.
That's kind of you to say so, brother.
I may have the ideas and the craft to make these wonderful things, but without you keeping the fire just right, I would be nowhere.
Much appreciated, brother.
I have an idea for the final treasure. Back to the forge.
Excellent.
When I give the signal to pump the bellows, do your usual thing. Whatever happens, do not slow down, speed up, or stop. This idea will be a fiddly one to get right. The temperature must stay perfectly constant.
What will you make this time?
A hammer for the gods.
Oh, I will not let you down, brother.
Atri went back to the forge, and Brock waited for the signal. A huge black deer fly flew into the room.
Now!
Brock pumped the bellows.
A little faster, brother. The forge is still too cool.
Is it better?
Perfect.
The deer fly landed between Brock's eyes.
My eyes! Get off!
It began biting his eyelids. Blood trickled down, blinding him.
Get off! I say!
The pain was terrible.
Right, that's it. I've had enough of you flying. 3, 2, 1,
What are you playing at?
I only slowed down for a second.
I told you it was a tricky job. It had to be exactly right. There was no room for error.
Well, I'm sorry that there was a fly. Look.
You were distracted by a fly.
Well, it bit me. Look at my eyes. They're all puffed up and raw.
Pathetic. The hammer might be ruined because of you. We could lose the challenge.
Loki buzzed out of the building. He can transform himself into any shape, person or creature. When he came back in, he changed back into his normal self.
So, are we all ready for the contest?
There are some imperfections in our last treasure.
Oh, well, time's up, I'm afraid. Valderson is already on his way to Asgard for the judging. We should make haste.
I shall look forward to cutting your head off, Loki. It got personal.
In Odin's hall, the gods gathered to judge the treasures.
Mighty Odin, first I present to you this spear, which is called Gungnir.
This is very fine.
This spear is so strong, it can pierce any armor. When thrown, it will never miss its target. And it has another power. Any oath sworn on Gungnir will be unbreakable.
Next, he produced a small piece of cloth. When it was unfolded, it revealed a ship called Skithblafnir. It was enormous, but when he folded it back up, it was small enough to fit into a pouch.
I like this, too.
The last of my treasures is this. A flowing head of hair, made with 100,000 strands of real gold. It will attach itself to the bald head of the person who needs it, where it will grow and behave as if it were real hair.
There are no bald men in Asgard.
Father, let Sif test this one. Sif, come forward. Take the scarf off your head.
The gods were shocked when they saw Sif's head. Brigitte kept it well hidden.
Let me help you, my lady.
Oh, thank you.
When the dwarf placed the magic hair on Sif's head, it instantly fixed itself to her scalp.
Oh, this is perfect! Better than my real hair! You are a miracle worker!
Loki was relieved. His head was feeling more secure by the moment.
Brock, the standard has been set. Can the treasures made by you and your brother compete with what we have seen?
I believe they can, All-Father. First, I present to you Draupnir, the golden arm ring. Every 9th night, 8 new arm rings of equal beauty will drip from it. You can reward the people with them or store them, and your wealth will increase.
Odin fitted the arm ring over his bicep.
This is very fine.
Next, we have Gutlin Bursti. A boar that will race over sky and sea faster than any horse. It'll never tire, never fail you, and the golden bristles will give you light on even the darkest and most endless night.
Odin looked impressed, but Loki felt sure that the folding ship had made more impact.
Finally, we made this. A hammer.
What do you make of this, Thor?
The handle is rather short.
That is my fault. I was working the bellows when I got distracted.
What distracted you?
A fly.
And the result is this stubby little handle. There is a good weight to it, but I would have to wield it one-handed.
It's not perfect, I grant you, but before dismissing it, let me tell you what makes it unique. It is called Mjolnir, the lightning maker. It's completely unbreakable. It doesn't matter how hard you hit something, the hammer will always be undamaged.
Interesting. I do tend to hit things pretty hard.
You've broken many of your weapons that way.
If you throw it, it'll never miss its target, and no matter how far it goes, it will always return to your hand.
I have lost more than my fair share of hammers due to overthrows. I like what I'm hearing.
Mjolnir will change size at your command. It will grow, or if you wish, it will shrink down, and you can hide it in your shirt.
Let me give it a try.
Thor struck at a mountain with the hammer. thunder rolled, lightning flashed, and the mountain shattered.
With this in my hand, I can protect us from the frost giants.
The hammer is most excellent, but what about the hair? Sif's new golden hair. She was completely bald, remember?
What? Oh, the hair. Yes, very nice. Now, Brock, show me how to make the hammer grow and shrink.
Mjolnir will protect us. It is the greatest of the gifts. Congratulations, Brock. You are the winner.
Now I will claim my prize.
Prize?
Loki and I had a little bet on the result. Come on, Loki, let me cut off your head. I promise we will turn it into something useful.
Let's not be hasty. I have treasures of my own. We can make a deal.
We already have a deal. Come here, let's get this over with.
Hold on! I agreed to give you my head so you may take it, but if you cut off any of my neck, even the tiniest sliver, then you will be violating the terms of our agreement, and you must die.
Loki is right. You cannot cut his neck.
How do I remove the head without cutting the neck? It's not fair.
You should be more careful with your words when taking on Loki, the cleverest, trickiest, most handsome god of them all.
Please stop showing off, Loki.
Odin, can I have a word?
Brock whispered a suggestion into Odin's ear.
Oh, yes. I think we'd all be happy with that. It would be good to stop him crowing.
With that, Brock produced an awl, a pointed spike used in leatherwork. He grabbed Loki and punched holes through his lips. Taking strong thread, he sewed them securely shut.
That'll teach you to try and get the better of a dwarf.
That must have hurt a lot.
The gods don't feel pain as you might do.
I've had stitches. They get really itchy after a while.
For Loki, not being able to talk was what really hurt. He loved the sound of his own voice.
The others should have been happy.
Why?
He got them lots of treasures.
He saved them from disaster as often as he got them into trouble. That was why the other gods tolerated Loki.
We need a wall around Asgard for protection.
I am strong. I will protect us.
You are very strong, that is true.
What if you weren't here?
Where would I be?
Let's say you've gone to spend some time with the Lighten Elves in Alfheim.
Well, I would never go to Alfheim. I have no interest in Lighten Elves. In fact, it might seem strange, as everyone says they're incredibly beautiful, but I find even the thought of them quite unpleasant.
Where you actually go doesn't matter, Thor. It's hypothetical.
But it matters to me, Loki. I'm not going to Alfheim.
Where would you like to go?
Svartalfheim, to watch the dwarfs at work. That is something I would love to see.
All right, then. Imagine you're in Svartalfheim and the giants attack.
Ah, I see what you mean.
We need a wall.
The next day, a stranger appeared. He was an ordinary-looking man, dressed in the clothing of a smith. Behind him trudged a horse, a stallion, huge and grey, with a broad back.
I hear you need a wall. I can build you one.
It's a generous offer, but the